Hi. So today I'm doing something different. Hopefully something you guys will like. I'm reacting to a video. Now, I am subscribed to Addis Pro. You guys are too. He's good at map. I have watched his videos, but not all of them. So, what I'm gonna do is react to his top 5 countries versus the world.
So today we're going to be taking a look at a scenario where the top 5 strongest countries in the world team up and take on countries surrounding them.
Okay.
So the United States, Russia, China, India, and Japan, which are all the top 5 strongest countries, will be going up against their neighbors, working together, and overall probably be dominating the world. If you guys do enjoy this video, make sure to leave a like on it and subscribe to the channel if you're new. And let's go ahead and just jump right into this video. Now, I've done a similar video like this in the past, which was the United States, Russia, and China teaming up for the top 3 strongest. But now let's go ahead and expand it a little bit. Let's do the top 5 strongest. This automatically opens up a lot more opportunities for the red team, but it's also important to note that a majority of this team is over here in Asia. So with that, we can expect a lot of wars popping up in this region, but also maybe some stuff going on in Central Asia, Europe, and of course North America. So let's go ahead and start these wars. So the first war is actually going to be taking place in Mongolia as Russia and China team up to take on the country. Now, of course, Mongolia does not stand a chance against these two countries as...
Please watch my Minecraft Let's Play episode 5. I know it's long and most of you guys don't like long videos, but it was important. I had to get ready for the new player. But it has less views than episode 6 for some odd reason. Like, subscribe, share, and comment. Subscribe to Addis Pro. He's funny. You like him or not. He's a small channel just like me. You guys should help small channels go, but yeah.
Once again, they are the top 5 strongest, but Russia's number 2 and China is number 3. Russian troops storm in from the north and Chinese troops in from the southeast. I'm alliterating direction. And Mongolia is quickly swept through as there is literally nothing in here except for fields. So let's go ahead and take a look at this peace treaty. Alright, taking a look at this treaty here, you can see where the new line was drawn because this map is kind of fading out. But overall, we have a split of Mongolia between Russia and China. Now, I am recording this on Halloween, so there's a pumpkin in the background, but unfortunately, I didn't think to put that there until actual Halloween, and you're going to be seeing this on November 2nd, so there's no point in putting it there now, but why not? So with this war taking place, China is now the 3rd largest country in the world, overtaking the U.S. Now, the United States is not happy about this because, you know, USA on top. So they declared war on the entire Caribbean. Yep, that's right. Water is going to be shot as America has declared war on the entire Caribbean. Now, if something like this were to happen in real life, first of all, nobody would be able to stop it because this is an unstoppable coalition. They can try, but they're not going to succeed. What are they going to try to do? They're going to try to form alliances to prevent the spread, but ultimately that alliance is going to be taken over. So the world is just going to have to kind of let it happen and just hope that they're not in the targets of the red team. And that's why nobody's doing anything about these expansions. So the U.S. goes island by island, first taking over the Bahamas, landing in the Dominican Republic, sweeping over, taking out that country and Haiti. Next up, they take Jamaica, we take over these useless islands over here. And next up is Cuba, pretty quick invasion coming in from the south and from the north. Is captured, and eventually the island is taken over by the United States.
Oh!
So the Caribbean is American, and this is going to be great for the U.S. as they are now going to control the Caribbean Sea, which is high in trade. So that's good for them, but also because that gives them a lot of land back. Honestly, I don't think it's enough to retake China in the position of the 3rd largest country. It might, but honestly, Mongolia is such a large country, so I'm going to say that China's still at number 3. So the U.S. is still hungry for land, but we got to keep in mind that they are still in an alliance together. It's kind of like a rivalry. They have that going, but it's just still, they're on the same team. They're allies, just like a friendly race. But unfortunately, China is about to pull ahead as India and China launch an operation into Myanmar. This country, which already sucks, is going to be obliterated, to say the least. Their government is basically not there, and it's just basically a free land grab. I don't know why China hasn't done this in real life yet. Well, I mean, I know why, because there would be backlash, but if they wanted to, they really could. These two countries sweep into the country, and the whole thing is wiped out within the matter of weeks. So looking at this peace treaty here, a majority of Myanmar will be turned over to India, as the whole British Raj thing still kind of stands true. But China does get a little bit of land out of it, so it's not a complete loss for them when it comes to spending and military. But they're going to want to keep expanding, because that is just a momentum role, and Southeast Asia is looking very vulnerable right now. So the two countries, India and China, declare war on Vietnam, Cambodia, Laos, and Thailand. This momentum and invasion power is really starting to get some countries to kind of think about maybe forming a giant world alliance, but overall, everybody's too scared to join it. If one of the countries join the alliance and another one gets invaded, that automatically means they're going to have to join the war against the red team, and nobody wants that because the red team is unstoppable. So yeah, those jungles that the US struggled with, they're not struggling with them anymore, and Southeast Asia is taken out within a couple months. So let's go ahead and take a look at this divided up peace treaty here, which China gets a majority of the land. Now, these borders look horrible, and China and India both acknowledge that. It's also not very good for India, as their land is spanning all the way down here across the Bay of Bengal. And then, you know, they have this little passage showing right here, and, you know, they're in an alliance, but that doesn't necessarily mean that Indian trade routes can go through China, so they're going to have to make a compromise here. And by compromise, I mean a land swap. So in this land swap here, we actually have a pretty small one. It's still beneficial for China, as this is a much more economically powerful area, whereas this area is kind of a dud, so India is given this land, and China is given this land. Overall, it does look better border-wise, but there are still some white spots over here, but unfortunately, these two countries are pretty much impossible to invade. In Bangladesh, just a lot of people there, so they're going to withstand for now. But it's time for some other countries to get some action, because we've only been focusing in on China and India. Or so it's time for Russia to get some action as they start to think about reforming that Soviet Union. First, they declare war on Kazakhstan, Uzbekistan, and Kyrgyzstan. The real problem is going to come for them when they get down to Kyrgyzstan, which is a heavily mountainous country. But Kazakhstan and Uzbekistan, those are pretty open countries, and Russia's not going to have a problem invading them. Also important to note, there is literally nobody living in these countries, so it's kind of a field day for Russia. They first started by taking over the western parts of Kazakhstan, which are the more European parts, and from there they started an invasion in from the north, sweeping down towards Uzbekistan. They focus on capturing the Caspian Sea, and then push over and finally enter into the country. From here, they focus on a campaign in the south, which goes extremely well. They then push up from the south and manage to make an encirclement of a large portion of Kazakhstan, which ultimately forces the country into surrender. Now from here, Uzbekistan collapses, and like I said, they're going to have some issues over here in Kyrgyzstan. There are some minor border movements, but overall, Russia is having a hard time pushing in. A couple of weeks pass, and the pressure is on until eventually Kyrgyzstan surrenders to Russia. So let's go and take a look at this peace treaty. Alright, taking a look at this treaty here, Asia is pretty much dominated by the red team. There's only a small portion remaining, which is mostly the Middle East over here, and a portion of Central Asia. But other than that, and of course, I guess down here as well, but I can more consider this Oceania. Other than that, Asia is red for the second time in history. But in this peace treaty, of course, we have Russia annexing all of Kazakhstan and Uzbekistan, but also some land was ceded over to China, as they did sort of play a role in the invasion of Kyrgyzstan with some aid along the border. But now let's jump over to Japan, who has had no action. Japan sees this, and you know, they're like, hey, we want land. Every other country in this alliance has expanded. Of course, China and India doing the most, Russia doing, well, actually, I don't know. Russia might have had the most land grabbed. It's close, I don't know, but the U.S. leading in fourth, Japan, nothing. So it's time for them to get some land, but hold on, South Korea is the 6th strongest country in the world, so maybe invading them isn't such a good idea. Of course, if they got help from China, they'd be able to easily overthrow the country, but that risks them losing land in the Korean Peninsula, in which they are eyeing up and want the whole of. Of course, invading Taiwan would create problems with China, who is gearing up to take the island, so they're going to have to withhold on that. So what is the third best option for Japan? Well, just go a little bit more south, and you will find the Philippine Islands. Of course, these guys are allies with the U.S., but we just saw the U.S. destroy the Caribbean. I don't think they're too worried about allies anymore. So Japan declares war on Japan, sets up a navy, and soon lands in the north of the country, streaming down towards the capital. Manila is eventually taken, and the Philippines are just being destroyed here. There was a slow response by the Philippine government, which led to little to no military response. Finally, we have full annexation by Japan of the Philippines. Now, of course, this war wouldn't actually play out just like this. I'm extremely overestimating the Red Team's capabilities here. That's why I like to say weeks and months, just to give you a better perspective of how long this kind of stuff takes to do. Like, Russia wouldn't be able to invade the entire central of Asia within what I showed. That most likely took months. Same thing with the South Asia campaign. So this right here, I would say about took like 2-3 months maybe for Japan. They got aid from the rest of the Red Team, but they do have the claim over the entire island, which leads to the peace treaty of them just annexing the entire island. And with this, Japan has set itself up for a possible attack against Indonesia and Malaysia. But for now, they're going to hold off as they make a deal with China in invading the Korean Peninsula. First off, we have both countries declaring war on North Korea. China and Japan.
How big is Japan by the Philippines? Crow. True size of .com. The true size. Okay, I don't need to know how it works. Yeah, map. Japan. There's the Philippines. True size of Japan. You pretend like you didn't see that. True size of Japan. So here's the Philippines. True size of the Philippines. So let's put both of them at the equator. The Philippines is massive. It's as big as Japan. Whoa. Wait, let's put them like that. No, Japan would look like that if it was up north. Yeah, Japan is bigger than the Philippines. It stretches all the way down in Siberia. So let's put them next to UK. Whoa, Japan. If I put this at if I put the southernmost point of Japan at London, it stretches all the way from Norway to the top of Finland. Oh my gosh. Oh yeah, Pokemon's got invited out. At the southernmost tip of the Philippines in London. And, okay, so Japan is pretty big. Bigger than the Philippines, okay. But they are close to the same size.
And both mutually agree to split North Korea down the middle. And with this would set up Japan with a front against South Korea, as well as aid from China, in which they could fully annex the entire South Korean country. Luckily, North Korea is entirely dependent on Russia and China, and of course, well, we can see the map here. So that aid is completely cut off, and North Korea is forced into death. A lucky day for the red team, as this country is literally nothing without their support. So looking at this peace treaty here, we can see that it's kind of misleading, but just do know that China annexed the northern part of North Korea, and Japan got the southern part. With this new front line set up, South Korea becomes very aware of the situation, and it's a little late as Japan declares war on them. Luckily, they were ready though, and we actually see our first blue team putting up their defense. South Korea invades parts of North Korea and almost completely kicks Japan out of the country. Luckily though, Japan and China come up with a response to this, and that response is sheer destruction. We're going to assume that the technologies of these 5 countries are all combined, and the range and the capabilities and the destruction is just enhanced by 5. So we can imagine that the South Korean army is facing a lot of death. We're talking naval barrage as South Korea is completely surrounded. Air barrage as their air force is just dwarfed. And then, of course, army barrage as China and India alone make the strongest country or army in the world. South Korea puts up a hell of a fight, though, and it takes a couple months for them to finally go down. But eventually, we see them getting split in half, just like they did in the Korean War. And this time, though, they are completely annexed. Japan makes a naval landing on the island, and that is that for South Korea. As promised by China, Japan gets all of South Korea, even as China lost a lot of troops to this. This is shown as a strong friendship between the red team, specifically Japan and China, who have had bad relations in the past. So with this, Japan has established itself a nice little sea empire in the Pacific, but now China and Japan are both eyeing up Taiwan at the same time, and, well, they both agreed to just not do anything until one of them does something. And by that, I mean it's going to be a race. Of course, Japan has the Philippines and, of course, these islands to set their navy up on. China has its own navy on the ports of the country. So as soon as one navy goes, the other navy is going to go as well, if that even happens. So with red team supremacy in Asia, the United States is wait, hold on. It's our turn. And they respond to this rapid expansion over here with a nice little invasion of the second, well, at this point, not the second largest, but one of the largest countries in the world. Luckily, Canada said sorry, and that war is avoided. Looking at this peace treaty here, full annexation, and the United States has established itself as a player in this world gangbang. Why are all my borders red? I have never had that happen before. That's extremely weird. Maybe it's foreshadowing. I don't know. But the U.S. decides to continue its little winning streak and declares war on Mexico. Mexico responds to this by saying, no queremos guerra, and they settle for an ultimatum. And in this feature here, we have a very familiar America. Maybe this is like a throwback to an older video, the U.S. Empire video. But yeah, it's just complete domination at this point. The red team is only getting stronger and the world is only getting weaker as they lose more and more countries. Mexico's ultimatum crippled itself, and, well, luckily the cartels have died down, but, I mean, it's still not, no, actually, I take back what I said, they're pretty screwed. But yeah, so what does the world do at this point? They're screwed, there's nothing they can do, and they realize that, and they just, what do you even do in this scenario? There's nothing you can do if the 5 strongest countries in the world just gear up against you. I guess we could fast forward a couple years and see what the world looks like in the future. So let's go ahead and do that and see what happens. Well, that's interesting. So, most notably, the red team has expanded itself into Europe and now South America, as well as Oceania, but also the League of Please Do Not Kill Me Nations is formed. This includes impossible crossovers such as Israel and Iran, Serbia and Kosovo, and Azerbaijan and Armenia. That's right, the threat of dying is really enough to put the whole world together. Some notable not-entries include Switzerland, who is dead set on that whole neutrality thing, even though it's probably going to kill them in the end. But hey, maybe they can pull something off here as this war is not going to kick off in this video because I just tricked you and you got baited on Halloween. How do you feel about that? That's right, I'm not recording here. I'm not going to push myself to get a higher length of a video. I've already been recording for 30 minutes. It's 11 o'clock at night on October 31st. I want to go to bed. I don't want to go to school tomorrow, but, you know, the whole mandate thing, you gotta go to school, kind of stupid, but, you know, it's whatever. Honestly, I'm in the mood for making videos right now, and I think that's great because hopefully this can transition into the mood of I'm in the mood for editing videos. Most likely won't because I hate editing videos. But hey, this was a fun video to make, and I really hope you guys enjoyed it. If you did, make sure to leave a like on it and subscribe to the channel if you're new.
Yeah,
leaving a like shows me that you guys enjoyed the video. Subscribe to the channel lets me know that you really enjoyed the video, as well as, you know, you're showing support for our goal of 100K.
Yeah,
sharing the video lets me know that you think others should see the video, and commenting just gives me your opinion, feedback, and overall just criticism, if you will, whatever you want. Those 4 things really help me grow, and, you know, your feedback, of course, is always welcome in the comments, so make sure to leave it if you have any. Thank you guys for watching. 100K by the end of this year, and I'll see you guys in the next video.
Okay, the next video. So I reacted to Addis Pro 5 strongest countries versus the world. Okay. Now, let's end the video here. Bye for now. Hope you liked the video. This was a new one. Hope it gets a lot of views. Okay, here's another recommended. Okay. Who subscribed to me? Comment down below if you're subscribed to me so I know. Bye.